Okay, I'll show you. Come here, Abby. I'll show you, we'll show you how to separate milk. So if you just want to see the separating, we'll put down in the comments, or somebody can put down in the comments the time that the separating starts, and try to watch. We want you to try to watch as much of this video as you can. It helps the channel out. So I want to keep it interesting. But this is also kind of an informative video on how separating milk works. So we're going to kind of go through this whole thing, and if you need to know how to do your own, this video will teach you. If you just want to get to the good stuff, go down in the comments, and there'll be maybe some links or tags, and we'll try to put down in the comments or the description what time to go to see the fun stuff. Which this is a separator, and I'll show you how to put it together. And this will crank right here, and this shaft goes. So this is geared where one crank goes really high. We want to teach you everything about separating right here. And I haven't separated in a long time. We haven't been normally separating. So we're going to use a tabletop. This is a tabletop separator that we're going to use. And a Montgomery Ward tabletop. I don't know what model. Model 35 tabletop. And I'm going to show you how to do that. I like whole milk. That thing can skim it out. So here's the milk. That's the way our milk separates out. So you can see the cream line right here. So we might just take half that cream, and the thickest cream will actually go to the top. So that's really thick cream. This is thin cream. And then obviously there's a definitive line where the cream stops. So lots of times we'll take half of that top thickest cream off, keep it separate, and then we can make butter out of that or whatever. But we like whole milk. I don't know what you would call if you just leave half the cream. I don't know if that's 2% or what, but that's really how we separate it anymore. The way we're separating it today is going to get all the cream out, and you're going to have nothing but milk left. And they will call that blue milk. And they used to just throw that away or feed it to the hogs. But it will be skim milk or blue milk. So I'll show you the separator, and then we'll strain the milk, and we'll get this thing going. So this is your I can't think of the word. I don't know. We call it a pack. It's the cone pack, but these are your cones. So it's going to go together like all tight, but I'll show you. You have your bottom piece. Then you have this little guide right here. And it lines up. Sorry about the lighting here, but it only lines up one way. So, let's see. I don't know exactly. Over there, I think that's. Goes right like that, okay? Then you have all of your cones here. And they all go on a specific direction. And you can just turn them where they all line up. And all these little holes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's what I thought. So we're gonna, you can just have all of them lined up there. And I probably should do a little better than that, but we'll get this all lined up. And the way it lines up, see, there's one wide groove and two skinny grooves. So one wide, two skinny. So I'll go through and do it right. I was trying to hurry, but hurrying it doesn't work very well. So there'll be this little dimple goes down this groove, dimple, groove. And then we'll face the wide one here. Find the wide one on there, slip it down. So we'll do that all the way. Wide, down, wide, down, wide, down. So we're going to do this. Abby can speed this part of the video up. Okay, so now they are all on there nicely. If you see, all the holes are lined up. Okay? Just little bitty gaps in them. Now we take this, and this dimple goes down that slot, and it will be tight. We have the cap screw right here, goes around. This is the wrench. And you use these two right here. You know what? I should tell you something else real quick. And I forgot something else. I knew I forgot something. Okay. This goes on. So this is the top piece. If you want to change, and that'll spin. If you want to change the richness of your milk, you can right here. That's how, that little screw going in and out is how you set how much cream you take off. And I forget if it's in or out. You can maybe Google that. But depending, or just worst case scenario, you can experiment and figure it out. So you can push that in, and I think you get thicker milk, thinner cream. And out is thicker cream, thinner milk. But that is how you set how much cream you take off. Then you set this on. Yeah, that feels much better. Then you screw this on here. And I believe you're supposed to get this line over here to that line. I don't know if I can get it quite that tight, but we'll see. Things have flexed and warped over the years. But we'll see. It's close. That's not quite as important as some things, but you go ahead and crank her down pretty tight. So that's the line and that's the line. They're supposed to kind of line up. But that's going to end up being too tight. So then this sets down on there, and you just give her a little spin till it lines up. There you go. And it locks in. And you can see how fast this thing, I don't know. See, okay, so watch this. Watch how many times this turns with just a little bit of turning of the handle. This thing is geared incredibly high. So you're getting a lot of RPMs when you, and it turns really, really hard. That's perfectly normal. But the reason it's turning really, really hard is because you're spinning this thing so incredibly fast. And it'll go for a long time. So this is spinning at an extremely high rate of speed. Then you have your spouts. This one sets on. I think the bottom one is the skim milk. I'm hoping the bottom one's the skim milk. I'm pretty sure. So, bottom one's going to be the skim. Top one's going to be the cream. And if not, we'll have to switch them real fast. Then you have the second spout. Then you have, I don't know what you call this. But you have that. Then there's a little float. Then this. And we're going to rinse this out a little extra here. That sits on right like this. This is actually your valve. It sits right in there. You can see that. So, yeah, okay. So that's off, and then when you want to go, you can turn it on. So we'll have her up to speed before we release milk. Now the other thing is right here on this handle, right here. This is a weight. To go the proper RPM, not too fast, not too slow, this has to not click, this has to be out. So when you come up, see, it'll click back down. It'll go, you hear it click down. You have to be going fast enough that this weight stays out. So when I'm going, you'll hear it goes click. Now listen. Click. Get close, Abby. Click. 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 You'll have to get going fast enough that that stays out and doesn't click down. And when you stop hearing the clicking, then you can release the milk. Okay? So now I'll show you straining. The way we strain, this is actually the top part of an old separator, a bigger separator, like a full floor model, but we don't have, that takes a lot of milk. So That's like a 1 cow separator. That's a tabletop. So I put my spout on here. This is just a plate with a hole cut in it. Then I put my funnel on. That's a milk strainer funnel. Some of them have them built in. We have some that are built in all the time. But the way I do it is, you can do that. Then I put my milk filter on. So we just have regular old 6.5 inch milk filters. Then I take another screen, and I think this is from a different one. Push it down, and then there's this little spring clip. Then we take our milk, and we milk super clean. So there's very little likelihood that we're going to have anything in this milk. So we'll pour it right through. There might be one little speck of something, but the whole point is to have a healthy cow and keep the milk clean. We have never... Okay. And it comes out down there. Then, most mornings we'll just take and fill up jars right here. And we'll just open up the spout and fill up a jar. This morning I'm going to put it back in that bucket and then put that up there. And so you can show. We have never pasteurized our milk. That might freak some people out, but we're talking 14 years and we're not dead yet. So if you have a healthy cow and you clean her up and you milk into a clean bucket and clean milk from the cow going into a clean bucket, and it's fine, okay? And this might also freak some people out. There are days we don't get milk poured up for 4 or 5 hours. We still drink that milk. It's not spoiled. We're not dead. So we're going to show you how to separate this morning. So what we're going to do is we'll open the spout right here. Let that out. And you know, if we were doing it in the buckets, we would just we could shut off and then change jars. So that's the way we bottle up our milk. So this is raw milk. This is real milk. Fresh from the cow this morning. Okay, so I think all that milk will fit in here. I'm not exactly sure. But when you have this thing completely full, it's no fun to crank this thing. I have it mounted just on an old desk. I'm going to go ahead and pre-wind this thing. So if you're just going up here and you skipped ahead to see the separating, we've got the milk cleaned and strained. We've got all of it put together. Now here's the key. We haven't got milk in here yet. Now listen, you can hear it clicking. It's speeding up and you'll hear click, 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 click. And when you stop hearing the clicking, it's fast enough. And you have to keep winding the whole time and never hearing clicking. Listen. You hear that click, click? When you hear the click, click stopping you fast enough. Stop clicking right there. This is how fast you have to turn. All the time. It's easy to turn once you get it up to speed. You're just maintaining. Now I'm going to leave her going, and I'm going to pour the milk in, and I'll have to get it back up to speed. Make sure it's off. Pour it in. Okay, we'll try to do it. I've got to speed it back up. Now we're going to start it here. Turn it on. Now watch. We'll see if we can get some coming out. It does get harder to turn when you put the milk into it. We'll hope we're not going to be making a mess. There you go. See the milk? That's the skim come out. The skim's going to be real frothy. And that's the cream coming out. This actually splatters a little bit. So you almost kind of can cover this and keep from making a little bit of a mess. Now it's just a waiting game. Maintain the speed. You want to go where you don't ever hear a click, but you don't want to go too fast. I hold down on the top a little bit because there's nothing to seal this up, and it'll leak around just a little bit if you're not careful. So it dribbles out from here a little bit if you're not careful. And if you hold it down, it just makes a little bit of a tighter seal when it's completely full. I heard it click once, so I have to speed it up just a hair. Now it's just a waiting game. When I crank, if I have to really get up to speed, a lot of times I bring it around, and if you'll make your stroke, if you'll push down hard, so it comes all the way over here, and if you gain your speed on the push down stroke on the back side, way easier and more controlled. Don't try to power through it all the time. Just come around and then push and push and push on that back stroke, and you can push down and really get your speed when it's hard to turn. So if you're just starting out, there's actually some science to the turning. So almost immediate now. When I finish cranking, it's through. You can see it's about out. Now I'm going to speed this thing up pretty fast and sling the milk, or else the milk gets stuck in the cones. Okay, that's it. Now we can start cleaning. That cone pack will take quite a while. We'll let that dribble just a little bit. And we're going to clean up. So you can see, well, let me move this cone over here. Catch the milk. There. Here's the milk, the blue milk, or skim milk. See that froth? That's a froth bubble. And actually, that's the milk coming out of it. It's all kind of semi-frothy. It takes a while for it to settle down. That's one reason I don't like skimming, because you end up with frothy milk. So, but there's good milk in there yet. You can facilitate it settling down, throwing the milk up there on it. And it will settle down. And we're going to clean up. But as you see, 2.5 gallons of milk makes a half a gallon of cream when you skim it like that. Here's I'll show you, our milk was pretty clean. I did see one little speck in it. I don't know where it came from. I'll show you our filter. So this is what that's everything we strained out of the milk. So it was just a little bit dirty. That's like little hay giblets or something. So the milk, that's about as dirty as our milk ever gets. There's some days you really don't ever see anything on the filter. So we're gonna clean everything up, wash everything up good. The cleanup, if you saw us put it together, it's just the exact opposite. Taking it out, you have to clean up every single one of those cones, or you'll have rotten milk, icky milk in there. So you have to take this cone pack completely apart, take the top off, and clean it all up, lay it all out, let it dry or it'll rust, and then after it all dries out really good, you can put it back together. That's why we don't, for one cow, and we're not selling the cream like that, that's why it's not worth it for us to skim all the time. Now if it's a goat and we wanted to see, goat milk doesn't separate, you'd have to separate it with a separator. Goat milk is naturally homogenized. But for us, it's easier to skim it off on top, leave part of it whole, instead of having to, we got to take all that back down and clean it all up, take it all apart, dry it all out, and put it all back together. But it's fun to do. It's just we don't do it all the time. So that's it.
Y'all come back now. Cheers.